It's Julia Renee.
And Kendall Aaliyah. Welcome back to the Know Your Power podcast. Hello, my loves, Kendall here. I just wanted to pop in and let you know that our video got corrupted for this video and cannot be recovered, so we are doing an audio-only episode today. I still wanted to get it uploaded here to YouTube because I thought the message behind it was really impactful. We will be back next week with normal episodes. Thank you for listening.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. For you guys, it's been a couple days. For us, it's been a couple seconds.
Crazy how that works.
It's been a bathroom break.
I wonder if we didn't say that. Obviously, people on YouTube, we look the exact same right now, but we do have a lot of like Spotify listeners.
We do.
And I'm like,
Hi, Spotify.
they would never know.
Yeah, we film on the same day.
Yeah.
We do.
So usually if I'm like a little off-putting in one of them, I just notice because I edit them where sometimes I come with a weird energy. If I didn't sleep well or if I slept too well and I'm too high energy, I'll carry obviously that energy into both episodes. And I'm like, dang, I was really weird for that whole week of episodes. And people would probably assume I'm just always weird, but it was just grouped
It's okay to
in
be
one
weird.
Filming session. Yeah.
Weird is fun.
Yeah.
But today we're not being weird.
Nope.
Actually, we are being weird with what we're talking about is very
That's
weird.
true.
Today we're going to talk about the lie that you tell yourself about your goals.
Oh, man.
And this one is like, I was thinking of this, since we have, by the time you guys are listening to this, the summer shred is already closed. But with a lot of the DMs that I was getting about people wanting to start the summer shred and like join were along the lines of this topic with the things that we say to ourselves, the things that we do that get in the way of our goals, whether it's something that's fitness related in our personal life, our relationships, maybe like a business venture that we want to do. There's so many things that we say and do on a day-to-day basis that get us to stop, not take action. And that's why I was like, I gotta make an episode about this.
This is such a good episode because every time you've like talked about it, even on like summer shred specific on your story, I'm like, that's so real. And I also understand like why we do these things, and sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. So I think this is a good reminder for everyone.
And I can think of like so many different avenues of my life when I have used a like certain excuse or
I love excuses.
I love a good excuse. I love to gaslight
tense.
and manipulate myself into not doing something that I want to do. But this is one of the biggest reasons why we don't go after the things that we want to. It's like that internal dialogue that like we're just not made for it, that we're going to fail, that like, I can't figure this out, that, you know, it just doesn't work for me. And like these things that we say go so much deeper than we realize. Like they dictate whether or not we go after the things. They shift our identity to where we start to believe that these things are actually true. Yeah, because
sometimes it starts as like, it starts as a lie. Yeah. But then when you start believing that lie, that like, then our body reads that as like, oh, this thing about me is so true.
Yeah. And it's like, there's certain aspects where I remember using a lot of logic to justify why I wouldn't go and do those things. And it's so much easier when you use logic because you're like, but yeah, like logically, I can't go after that thing. Like I know the one that I can think of on the top of my head was, I think it was when I was quitting the salon and going to do what I do now, basically. But I would use the logic of like money, you know, like that's a very logical thing to think about. Like, well, I can't go and do this thing because what if I don't make any money? I can't end up homeless. Or education wise, like, I don't know what I'm doing. How am I supposed to go and do that? But like those things ended up being figure outable anyways. So it sounds like you're being mature, you're being logical, you're being reasonable.
Like, I'm being responsible
but you can be responsible, but also like move the needle towards the thing that you want to. So the way that I wanted to like break this up is by kind of like phrases that we say to ourselves. And the first one is, I'll start when life calms down. And this one's super sneaky because, again, like it sounds like responsible, mature. It sounds like you're being realistic. But then let's think about how long have you been saying, I'm going to wait until life calms down.
Yeah.
You know, has it been a month? Has it been 2 months? Has it been 6 months? Has it been 5 years and life still hasn't calmed down?
Yeah. I think you're waiting for like a a non-real open time where you have nothing else you need to focus on to somehow magically land in your lap. And like in reality, there's always something going on, or you're always able to place that blame on something. You could always, I could find a million things in one day of like, I can't do that because I have this. And it's like, okay, but what if you went and did that thing anyway? And then the thing you're blaming it on is actually not as like impactful as you thought.
It's so true. I mean, if you want to make time for it, like you genuinely will make time for it. But what we're really asking of ourselves when we say that is, I am only going to do this thing when there is no obstacles ahead of me.
Yeah.
When like it's clear, my day goes as planned, like life isn't chaotic, I have enough time, the weather is nice, like I get good sleep, whatever it might be. And the truth is like if we wait for that, we're going to be waiting forever because life is going to life. It's just it's not when, it's like it's not about if it's going to happen, it's when.
I also think when you start in the storm of things and you already lock down everything you need to do, then those open, free, beautiful days are just going to feel even easier instead of it feeling like, okay, that's when I'm going to start. Then maybe you will, and then things will get really hard when life happens because life's going to happen, and then you're more likely to like fall off again. Yeah,
that's so true. Because if you only learn how to do the thing when there are no obstacles, then when obstacles do arise, then that's where that freak out happens and you don't know how to handle it. So I think that there is a lot of benefit to learning how to go after the thing that you want to, even when there is a storm that's a brewing and being able to like, maybe you don't go as at a rapid speed as you did and you're trekking through it like, but at least you're still moving when there are obstacles, when you go through a breakup, when you lose a friend, like where you work is like crazy. I don't know, when you're on vacation, like things like that. If you learn how to do it during those times too, then you're going to be so much better off later.
Agreed.
I remember for me, there was like a point where I started believing that like I could only start my prep if, I didn't have anything that was on the horizon. I had to just like, okay, my whole schedule had to be clear. And if that was the case, then I would just be, okay, well, if everything had to be clear and there had to be no obstacles for you to start a bodybuilding prep, what would you do? Just like, I'm just going to sit at home and like the only thing that I do is eat and train and like I can't do anything else with my business. Like I can't hang out with friends. Like that's just not how life works.
Yeah,
There's going to be challenges along the way. The next one is I can't do it perfectly. This one hits really hard for me personally, and for you listening, I know the high achievers, the perfectionists, because we live in a world where perfectionism and doing things like exact is praised because, on the outside, it looks like, wow, they're super disciplined. Wow, they're successful. Wow, they have it all together. But when it's slowly killing you inside,
is it really perfect?
Is it really perfect? It might look like it on the outside.
You put a nice little bow on it, but there's still a lot. Like nobody and nothing is ever perfect. Perfect is not real. Perfect does not exist. So I am so on board of this one, and a lie I've definitely used because I understand like that making it the objective of like having a good target, having high expectations for yourself. Yeah. But when it surpasses that high expectation and goes to like perfect territory, then you are only ever going to either just prolong starting, or if you do start and it doesn't look and feel exactly how you foresaw it being, you're going to be so hard on yourself. And like you said, it's just going to be miserable underneath that like perfect disguise.
Yeah. And this was like one of the biggest things that I was seeing like in my DMs where people didn't want to like start in the shred or, start their weight loss journey or like even compete in like a bodybuilding show because they didn't want to do it unless they can do it perfectly. Like I'm not going to track my macros unless I can hit the numbers exactly. I'm not going to eat healthy unless I know that I can do every single meal perfectly without falling off track and having a burger. I'm not going to train unless I can do it 6 times a week. It's like, it's very all or nothing.
The funny thing about that one is exactly like by you saying like, what if I only get 4 times a week instead of 5 times a week? And it's like, oh, so you're picking none? Like, that's your ultimatum here is like, I'm not going to go at all. Like, I know that sounds like the extreme version, but that's, again, like a lot of the inspo for this one was messages about the shred. And I was getting that too, where it was like, I'm not going to join because I'm not going to do it perfectly. It's like, okay, so you're not even going to give yourself the opportunity to do it a little bit perfectly. Like 1% is better than 0. So
Exactly. And I remember thinking the same thing too, whether it was something that I was doing within my business, like even like a video, like let's like, this video can't be perfect, if this, like, I'm not going to do it at all.
I've crashed out many of times for all facets of everything I do around it not being perfect enough. So this one's so relatable.
Yeah. And I love what you said too about like, what was it? You were saying it's kind of like you're setting yourself up as a failure before you even try. You're like, you're choosing in for it to be a no. Yeah. And you're already deciding that, it's just a big fat no, a big fat, I'm not going to try it before we even like take a step.
Yeah, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to
fail if that's the case. Because like at least
I saw such a good quote, not to cut you off, sorry.
Is it? Please.
I was going through like my save to show you that funny video earlier, and one of the things I scrolled past was this video I saved, and I'm going to butcher it, but this guy was talking about like, I rather fail at going for like my wildest dream than succeed at something I settled for, or like something in that world where I was like, that's so true. Like I rather have a big goal for myself. I want to lose X amount of weight and I want it in this timeline and I'm going to go for it. And maybe I don't quite hit that, but at least I created good habits. I maybe made a little progress. I'm moving my body more than I was before, versus if you go like, I'll just settle with like doing what I've been doing anyway and not tracking my meals because that's easy. It's like, then like, even if you succeed at that, like you never let yourself try and fail. Like failing's part of the process. A lot of the time I failed many a times on a lot of the things I do, but continuing to show up is how you get better.
Yeah. So. I think, I'm sorry, we're quote bombing you guys, but
okay.
I love that quote.
I love
it's like,
talking quotes.
It's about like basically the faster that you fail, the better. It's like, let's get it over with because it's a part of the process.
I'm going to do another one.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We just do quotes all day on this podcast.
I love Pinterest. Can you tell? There was one that was, what if you were 7 failures away from succeeding? It's like, how fast would you want to fail then? Which is that same sentiment of like, get the failures over with. Like you're going to have to learn throughout your journey. If you're afraid you can't track perfectly, the only way to get better at it is by trying to track and figuring out like how to fit your macros and building a meal plan. But you can't do those things if you are like, well, it's not perfect, so I'm not going to do it at all. So.
And I think that then there is only one outcome.
Yeah.
If you at least if you try and you go after that thing, then there's different outcomes. You just probably can't see them yet. And that's another thing is like, we can't see it. So we get frustrated. Yeah. But if you decide not to, like you were saying with that guy who was just like, I'm just going to stay doing the thing that I know that's safe. There is only one outcome. It's just that thing. Yeah. But if you open yourself up to failure and to doing it imperfectly, then the outcomes are endless. Maybe it doesn't go down exactly the route that you thought. You go from, A to Z perfectly. Maybe it's like, it's a little rocky getting there, but there's a different outcome.
Yeah. I set out for my prep last year to compete like during summer. I didn't step on stage until November. Yep. And that wasn't because I did anything wrong. It just like took my body a while. I was a little out of commission. But like if I had never started and set out with that initial goal, I would have never gotten to the end goal of it. So
and that's exactly how it was supposed to be. Yeah. Like that it was perfect because it was what it was. The next one is, what if it doesn't work? I think this is probably like one of the deepest ones because many people fear failure. Mm-hmm. We fear failure so much. Like we allow ourselves to want something. And when we do, we open ourselves up to disappointment. And that's a very vulnerable thing. Yeah. It's very vulnerable because if I just sit here and I'm like, okay, I'm never going to I'm going to take my life, for example, like when I was working at the salon. It could have been safer. Maybe it was the easier route if I just stayed there and did the thing and woke up every day and worked this job that I didn't like, but at least I knew where the paycheck was coming from. At least like I knew the people around me and it was safe, but I wasn't happy. It's like whenever I wanted to do what I do now, I had to open myself up to being vulnerable, for being seen, for potentially being disappointed that it didn't go the way that I want to. And that's a really scary thing to do. And that's why we sometimes just stay stuck.
Yeah. I feel like even like as of last month, these still come up for
like
me.
Yesterday.
Where I did like a Midnight Motive launch, and like all of them I've been so grateful have been like surpassed what my wildest dreams were. Like I go in with low expectations because I'm like, I'm happy with anything. And I did men's shorts, and men are not my demographic anymore. Thank you. I love all the women that follow me. But they used to be. And I like put out men's short, and obviously a men's product was going to perform a little less well since women are my target demo. And also obviously I'm wearing those items more, and it like definitely fell short. I didn't have crazy expectations, but like it was that little bit of disappointment where then it took like I did have to get into my own brain and like pull myself out of like, don't be afraid to continue launching more stuff this year just because that one thing didn't perform as well as you thought it would. Which same thing when I was starting like my personal training business. I was fully ready to like go walk dogs. I signed up for WAG. I was like, I need a plan B if this doesn't go well, because I was like already assuming that it wasn't going to and that I was going to fail. And then like I got one client, and that one client felt like everything. And then you just like, then you get the second one and the third one. But I could have very easily given up before getting that first one and never went for it because I was scared.
Yep. Yeah, that whole, you do open yourself up it's like an open wound to like put.
It's scary to tell other people too about your goals and about working towards those things. And that can totally be fitness related as well. If you want to set out and drop 50 pounds, that's a scary thing to like tell the people around you, or like even admit to yourself, because you're like, well, what if I don't get to that 50-pound weight loss goal now? And it's like, you shouldn't let that stop your initial step of going for it and trying.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that. And that's why people will like, you know, keep it like so close to the chest, because it's like we're protecting ourselves in a way, you know, and which I totally understand. Like you're protecting yourself from the disappointment with yourself or what other people will think. So if you don't share it, then it's like, okay, then nobody has to know. And, you know, I can be internally disappointed with myself, but then other people won't have to know either. So it's like, it's a real raw and a vulnerable thing to open yourself up to potentially failing and not getting it right the first time and going out of your comfort zone. And we have a lot of those feelings of, what if it doesn't work? But we'll never know if we don't try. We'll never know if we don't try. And it's so easy to want to just protect yourself from from that hurt, but you got to take that first
I think that's
step.
like a human response too, of wanting to like protect ourselves from danger. And sometimes that like goal or going for that thing or starting that new adventure is the danger. But sometimes we have to put those like thoughts aside and assumptions aside and be like, but what if it succeeds? What if I hit my goal? What if it's actually even better than I thought it was going to be?
And that's one of those like little mindset hacks that I use with myself a lot, whenever I do say like, well, what if it doesn't work out? Because this is one that I do say to myself, like, kind of often, where I love my life and like my bodybuilding stuff, like what we're going with Know Your Power, and I have more that I want to do like on this earth. And there's occasions like where I get scared and I'm like, but what if it doesn't work out? Like, what if all of these goals that I have and like all these things on my vision board, like, well, what if they don't? Like, oh, and then I start feeling like a failure. I say, like, but what if it does? But what if it does?
Like, what if you succeed? And actually all of it.
But what if you succeed? And it's like, if you just like step by step, like even in those moments where I didn't think that I would get to where I'm sitting right now, I have thought that. And hey, so far we're doing all right. And it's just like, well, what if we succeed? So just don't count yourself out before you even start.
Yeah.
Because it can work out. It can.
It's going to. You're going to find a way to make it work out. That's what I've learned.
The next one is I have tried before. This one is super dangerous because we use past evidence as proof to why we can't do anything different in our future.
This is one of those logical ones you were talking about of like, but here's the proof and the evidence.
I have proof, trust me. And I think about it every night when I'm laying in bed.
Yeah.
So like, let's take like a weight loss journey, for example. And say you have this goal of losing 20 pounds or competing on stage or something. And maybe in the past, like you've tried and you've fallen off, or you were really strict for a week and then you had like a binge on the weekends. Now you're using that past as evidence to why you can't do something different in your future.
This one's another one that's really at its core fear-based, of like fearing being back that same person, those same habits that you were once, where I think I had those same fears going post-show this year. I felt a lot of this, where I was like, but I've had bad reverses before, so that means I'm never going to be a bodybuilder that can reverse well and like do it healthily and do it the right way. And it just took like, this year, was it perfect? No, but I wasn't expecting it to be. And I took it more as like we're going to try to be better than the last one. Yeah. I'm just going to try to do a little bit better. And that's all you need to do. Even in like your example of the weight loss journey, it's like, it just takes getting back on track faster, or it takes like reassessing your thoughts a little more, sticking with it longer. Like these little things are already proving that you are not that person who tried in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that version of you. And anytime that I start thinking about like the past, I'm like, that version of me doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like it literally, like it exists somewhere, but like it's not who I am right now. So why should I use old evidence of myself to prove why I can't do something different in the future?
I actually think if anything, it taught you a lot and taught you some things of what not to do to make sure that this time's different. I feel like, not to be so like introspective, but it's like, if you're already having those thoughts, that means you're already better off. This is such an unrelated but somewhat related example.
I think I get what you're saying.
I have a friend who's a mom who had a conversation with me around like, but what if I'm not a good enough mom? And I'm like, you caring enough to want to be a good enough mom makes you a good mom. Yeah. Like, but that in any part of your goals of like, if you are already caring this much, you're going to have a different outcome.
Exactly.
So
no, I love that you say it's like, you could just be sitting there and being like,
yeah, you could not care.
Well, whatever, I guess we'll just do it again and I won't learn anything from it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to like use the example for this of being like, you know, I have tried before, like take a kid, for example, and when they're first learning how to walk and say they get up, we've probably all seen a baby at one point, like trying to walk and,
they're so cute.
My, what's it called? My niece, that would be my brother's daughter. Okay, yeah. My niece is like a little baby and like she's learning how to walk and she's crawling and stuff. And like watching them, you know, you don't just watch a little baby try to walk and then fall and be like, well, I tried that, I'm just never going to try again. No, you like, you get up and you do it again. You get up and you do it again. And we take that into adulthood like that. Oh, like I stumbled a little bit. That's it. That means walking just ain't for me.
That's so real.
Walking just ain't for me. So think about that when you're saying this to yourself. Like I have tried it before. At any point in time, you can choose to do something different. Your past doesn't determine your future. So no more of that.
No more.
I think this is the last one. The last one is I'm just not that kind of person. When I hear this one, like I think actually like hurts me when I hear people say that.
I was someone who would use this verbiage a lot where for me it was, I'm just not confident. I'm just not a confident person. Never have been, never will be. And it's like, you're already, again, it's using past examples of maybe times I wasn't confident and like making that your whole identity, which definitely happens a lot with fitness. I see it a lot.
I think that's why like it hurts so much because it goes on into that deeper like identity level where you're not just talking about like an action, it starts being like who you believe yourself to be. So like instead of being like, let's take the confident, instead of being like, I struggle with being confident. You're saying like, no, I am not confident.
Yeah.
Because you can struggle with your confidence. Like, that's okay. But when you're just flat out saying like, I'm not a confident person, that's like identity level shit where that's so deeply rooted.
I see this a lot with discipline.
That's why it hurts. Yeah.
Of like, oh, I have a hard time with discipline, or I'm only really good when I'm motivated, and then that turns into someone saying like, I'm just not disciplined, and it's like,
that's one of the
I
biggest
agree.
ones
It's painful to hear and see that translate into like, this is who I am. Because also, again, talking in the beginning about like, these are lies that we say, but when you start wording it that way, that feels like this is a fact about me instead of, are you kidding?
Are you kidding?
Wait, I'm so mad. What happened?
Something is wrong with our camera, y'all, because, you know, if you're listening on audio, but our camera just keeps geeking out where it's like just
First
stops.
episode today, it randomly was like, hey, also, none of this was going on the SD card, but it told us at least. So we swapped the SD card thinking it was my SD card's fault. This time, we then filmed a whole episode. This time, it just randomly shut off like majority of the way into this episode, which is so sad.
That's crazy. But I'm like, where does it go?
Yeah, it's literally just poof gone.
Poof gone. Somewhere up in the internet sky, our episode's floating around.
As stupid, as angry as we can be, I'm like, thank goodness it's not like our fault. You know, like this is a technical issue where it's not like Kendall forgot to hit record, because I have done that once.
Those are worse when we're like, oh.
But this one I quadruple checked. I know we were recording, so that's devastating.
So that's depressing. Anyways. What were we talking about? We were talking about how I am just not that kind of person. Oh yeah. So this one just hurts. This one hurts because it's identity level where you start to genuinely believe this thing about yourself of like, I'm not a disciplined person. I'm not a confident person. I'm not the kind of person that follows through. And like you said, you start taking them as facts. As like, no, I just can't change that. I know, like for example, there's a couple days ago, I went to Target, and the girl at the checkout, she's like, oh my God, like you look amazing and stuff. Like, I'm just not disciplined like that. And I always tell them, I'm like, no, that's not true. You could be if you would like to be. And they're like, huh? You know? And I'm like, no, seriously. I'm like, seriously, you could.
I think I get this one the most around the word willpower of like when I go out to eat with people, and obviously whether I'm in prep or not, I have all the dietary restrictions. So I'm often eating before I go, or maybe eating like the cleanest thing I can find on the menu. And that's often also said to me in that same tone of like, I could never have that willpower. I wish I had that, like that. I wish I long for. It's like, hey, it's just something you practice.
Yeah,
like
just like anything else.
I wasn't thrilled when I found out I couldn't eat gluten, but I stopped eating it because I care about my health. And so it's one of those things of like, if you care about your fitness goal, same thing. Like you start eating different and showing up different. And it's just a skill that then like it becomes part of you, and you don't even think about the discipline or the willpower or the confidence. It's that identity is then who you take on. So it's kind of up to you and your choice of like how you want to embody these traits.
Yeah, it's almost like we believe that certain people have the confidence trait or the discipline or the willpower or like the drive, and there's just other people that don't. And I remember thinking that like all of those things before I got into my fitness journey, before I started my business, that just like maybe some people had it and I just didn't. And that's why I would also use, you know, evidence to prove that why I didn't have it in the past.
Exactly.
But I was like, yeah, they just have it and I don't, and there's nothing I can do about it, and it's not true.
Yeah.
And we'll go and look, like we were saying previously, we'll go and look for evidence and proof to prove why that's the case. And this is just it's confirmation bias, where it's like, oh well, I am not disciplined because look, yesterday I, you know, had a burger and fries, and look, the last time I tried to lose weight, I didn't do it, and you look for reasons to prove this thing that's starting to become a belief about yourself.
Yeah, and sometimes we pull from really old examples where like sometimes I have like, maybe I failed at something I was going for like 7 years ago, and I'll use that as like evidence of why I can't do that again today. And it's so funny. Similarly with like the post-show aspect of it all that I talked about with the last example, it was like my last show was also like 4 years before this one. And even then I was letting that fear determine who I am as a bodybuilder. And I'm like, that's crazy.
That is so crazy. There are things like that I think like the other day I was looking at all my YouTube videos. Like I went way back to the beginning.
Oh, that's fun.
And I was like, whoa. I was just sitting in my car because I didn't want to talk in public. And all of my videos were like in my car. And then
half of mine still
hiding in my room and stuff. And I was like, wow, I've come so far.
Yeah.
But yeah. So all of these things are all based around fear. A lot of them are based around fear, which is a very, very human thing to feel. And one of the root causes of this is because we just want to avoid discomfort. We want to avoid pain at all costs. Like at a human level, that's like all we're trying to do. Yeah. And we perceive these things as possible ways to be vulnerable and to get uncomfortable, and that could potentially be painful. So we want to have certainty. We want to have like a guarantee. We want to have the confidence that it's all going to work out, that it's going to look exactly the way that we want, but life just doesn't work that way. You know, we have to stumble, we have to fall a little bit, we have to fail. I'm always like timid to use the word fail because people are like, we're so scared of it, right? Yeah. But you do. You genuinely do in order to get to where you want to go. And
but
it's a part of the process.
Like sometimes like the word fail feels like this huge, like catastrophic, like I fell so short of that thing, when sometimes it's just like, oh, maybe your standard and that perfectionism was what you were shooting for, and maybe you did really amazing, but you're still considering it a failure because it wasn't exactly how you saw it out being. Exactly. So sometimes those like quote unquote failures are just like literally the stepping stones it takes to get to the final.
Like, it's just like a little stumble.
Yeah.
I think it's like a stumble. And you're just like,
I feel like I've gotten a lot better in the last like couple years at embracing quote unquote failure. Like I don't think I'm quite as scared of it as I once was. And I think that was learning a lot of these things on this list and recognizing I was tying my identity to a lot of lies and being like, oh, like failing is not that big of a deal. Like literally also no one else cares. It's usually our own perception of it.
We're like, oh, everyone cares.
Yeah.
The whole world is going to see it.
Exactly.
And honestly, if you have people in your life that are doing that to you, like get them
weird.
out. Get them out.
Yeah.
But real talk. If the thing that is standing in the way of you going after your goals is the way that you're talking about yourself, the way that you believe that you can't change, the things that you say to yourself on a day-to-day basis, like those things can change. They can be. It's not who you are to the end all be all to the rest of your life. You can take that next step forward towards your goal. Despite fear, despite opening yourself up to failure, other people's opinions, blah, 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 you can still take that step forward. And just because maybe it didn't work out the way you thought in the past, or this or that, or whatever evidence you have, doesn't mean you can't do anything different in the future.
Yeah. Do it scared.
Do it scared. Like Buff Bunny says, do it with your hands shaking. Yeah. I love that.
I've been carrying that with me like every day. As an anxious girl, I'm like, yep, I'm just going to do everything with shaky hands. Yep. But I'm doing it.
Yeah. What if it could work?
Yeah.
What if you could succeed? What if it's everything?
That's its own conversation, is the fear of succeeding that we've talked about in the past.
We have the fear of success. That one is almost like funny.
Yeah. It's well, a lot of these are when you're looking at it on like we all do these, like, but yeah, they're all laughable once you're in hindsight and you go like, why did I waste so much time worrying about potentially failing and holding myself back from starting and doing the things?
Yep. Yeah. I agree. So if you're listening to this and there was something that has been on the top of your mind that you've wanted to do, it could be in your fitness journey, it could be a bodybuilding show, it could be a business that you want to start, like a relationship that you want to leave or start or whatever. This is your sign. Okay? What if it works?
I'm so motivated.
What if it works?
I'm going to go do a million things after this episode.
Go work on that thing.
Yeah, I was going to say it and I was like, I can't say it yet.
Because when it does,
I'm excited about that.
Work.
But that's one of those things. That's a big project for me. Yep. And I'm scared.
Yep.
Not really of it failing, but I'm just scared of it. Maybe the perfectionism side of like not being exactly how it is in my head. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm getting out of my own way. So hopefully you listening will also do the same.
Hopefully you do too. And as always, we love you all so much and you're more powerful than you think.
Bye.